Present day, grade 7 learners. I am teacher Monica Dayaw, your teacher for this week's lesson. I hope that you are well and safe studying at home at this time. Congratulations for having successfully finished your week 3 lesson. And now, we are about to begin a new lesson for this week. Prepare your materials and let's begin. Dear learners, prepare your learning activity sheet, pen, and paper. Our learning competency for this week is use the past and past perfect tenses correctly in varied contexts. At the end of our lesson, the learners will be able to identify past and past perfect tenses, differentiate past tense from past perfect tense, construct sentences using the past and past perfect tenses of the verb. Welcome to our week 4 lesson in English, which is entitled Using Past and Past Perfect Tenses Correctly in Varied Contexts. We will be dealing with the time element when stating and narrating an event to understand the whole picture. To achieve the objective of this lesson, we must use appropriate words to convey our message to others by considering the time where the actions or conditions take place. The most important word to be considered is the verb, which we use to state actions or conditions. Let us remember that verbs has tenses to state the time an action occurred. If we use the wrong form of the verb, it may be confusing to others that they may not understand our points. As we go along to our discussion, I want you to remember 2 words. The first one is the time elements, and then the second one is the form of the verb. These are the 3 points that we use to elaborate the message that we want to convey to others, especially when narrating events. Before we discuss the 2 tenses, let us define what is tense first. Tense is defined as the phenomenon that is used as a grammatical means to indicate time and aspect, based on Hammond-Bolt of 2018. As is stated, time is essential in stating an action, and this action is described using verbs which have various forms of tenses. In the English language, we have 12 tenses of verbs, but for this week's lesson, we'll be only dealing with 2 tenses of verbs, which are the past tense and the past perfect tense. The tense may not be important since the actions happened in the past, but stating the correct tense when the action happened will enable you learners to picture in your mind the message that you want to share with others. Likewise, there's a big difference between the simple past tense and past perfect tense. Let us differentiate them first. Simple past tense is used to talk about an action or condition that happened in the past. It means that it is now finished or a series of action or condition in the past. As you can see in the timeline, we have the past, the present, and the future. Past are the things or the actions or conditions that is already happened or finished. We formulate simple past tense by adding "d" or "ed" at the end of each word. But take note, this is only for regular verbs. For example, Piolo survived the earthquake that hit their town. We have the verb survived. As we examine, it ends with "d." The base form of the verb is survive plus "d." As we formulate it into simple past tense, it becomes survived with "d" meaning it is already finished. Another example, the man walked towards the building. We have the verb walked, which is in the regular form. It ends with what? Very good. It ends with ed. Therefore, it is in the simple past tense of the verb. From walk to walked, or from walk plus ed is equal to walked. Let's proceed to another example of simple past tense. Allow me to read the following sentences and let us examine together what is their difference from the first example given. 1. Afraid to catch a cold, Susie drank a lot of water. And then 2. The eagle flew to the mountains to escape the hunters. Can you see now the difference? Very good. The verb used in the following sentences are not regular verbs. Then, what are they? In this example, the verb used are quite tricky. Compared to the first example that we only add d or ed, this time, there is a change of structure. Compared to their base form, there's a change in spelling and pronunciation. For number 1, we have, yes, the verb used is drunk. What is the base form of the word drunk? Very good. It is drink. So from drink, it becomes drunk. Okay? How about the second sentence? Yes, it is flew. So what is the base form of the verb flew? Correct. It is fly. So we have the following irregular verbs now. We have drink to drunk and fly to flew. Do you see the difference between regular and irregular verbs? To remember the given rules in using irregular verbs, it is suggested that you may learn many irregular verbs and remember their past tense. The second tense that we are about to discuss today is about the past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is used to talk about a completed action or condition before something in the past. This means that there is another action happened before the completed action. We form the past perfect tense by using had plus the past participle of the verb to make a past perfect tense. Let us examine the first example sentence. 1. When Mike went to his home, he had bought a pizza for his family. The past perfect tense used in this sentence is had bought. Had bought is a combination of had plus the past participle of the base form of the verb buy, which is bought, that makes the past perfect tense had bought. Further examination of this sentence, we can tell that the first condition happened is the past perfect tense had bought a pizza for his family, and then the completed action is when Mike went to his home. In a typical scenario, we can say that Mike here as the subject of the sentence is a working man. On a regular basis of going home, this time, he thought of buying a pizza first before going home. So how are we going to state that in one sentence? The past perfect tense will be applicable since we have two actions included in one sentence. The first action is when Mike bought a pizza. And then the completed action is when Mike went to his home. Let us say that if we are Mike, what will we do first? Are we going to go home before buying a pizza? Or buying a pizza before going home? Let's think about it. And that's the use of past perfect tense. Another example of past perfect tense is John had written his letter of resignation before his boss arrived. There is a use of had plus the past participle of the verb write that makes it had written. If you are John in this sentence, what will you do first as you wish to resign? Of course, that is to write the letter of resignation first so that you can hand it over when your boss arrives. Now, let us see if you understood our lesson. In your LAS, you are given 7 activities to answer, with 10 or more items per activity. Among the 7 activities in your LAS, the 2 last activities will be considered to be your written work and performance tasks for this week's lesson. Alright, are you ready? Before anything else, let us read the general direction for you to be guided. Read carefully the directions indicated in the following exercises. Then, provide what is needed or asked in each item. For activity A, complete the table by writing the past and past perfect tense of the given verbs. Make sure to follow the directions, okay? For the first item, let's have the word use. First, examine if it is regular or irregular verb. Use is a regular verb. Therefore, let's add D at the end of the word, and it will be used as a past tense. Then, to make it a past perfect tense, let's use had plus the past participle of the verb used, which is used. The past perfect tense of use is had used. Now, it's your turn. Do you see regular verbs? How about irregular verbs? If so, you can now write the past tense and past perfect tense of the given verbs on items number 2 to 10. You will be given 3 minutes to answer activity A. Good luck! Time's up. Let's check your answer for activity A. 1. Used, had used. 2. Protected, had protected. 3. Avoided, had avoided. 4. Isolated, had isolated. 5. Disinfected, had disinfected. 6. Wore, had worn. 7. Both, had both. 8. Saw, had seen. 9. Begun, had begun. And 10. Found, had found. Let's proceed to your next activity. For activity B, read the following news article. Underline the verbs in the past tense. Understand the sentences and look for the verb. See if it is in the past tense. You can now answer activity B for 3 minutes. Time starts now. Three minutes is up. Let's check your answer. For the first part of the news article, the verbs in the past tense are published, said, helped, lauded, and allowed. And then we have wouldn't, got, cited, said, and implemented. For activity C, read the following passages and encircle the verbs in the past perfect tense. It is just the same with activity B, but this time, you will be looking for past perfect tense. Remember, had plus the past participle of the verb. You may now answer activity C for 2 minutes. Let's check your answer for activity C. Had moved, had been, had given birth, had happened, had begun. Had gone, had used, had been, had come, had assured, had looked. For activity D, provide the past tense of the verb in the sentences. The verbs in each sentence are inside the parentheses. Again, before writing the past tense of the given verbs, make sure to identify if it is regular or irregular verbs to easily write the past tense of the verbs on the blanks provided. You may now answer activity D for 3 minutes. Let's check your answer for activity D. 1. Provided. 2. Voiced. 3. Cancelled. 4. Traveled. 5. Reiterated. 6. Drew. 7. Decreased. 8. Sought. 9. Recommended. 10. Suffered. For activity E, write the correct past perfect tense of the verb on the blanks provided. Examine if the given verbs inside the parentheses are regular or irregular verb. To transform the given verbs into past participle and add it to our formula, had plus past participle is equal to past perfect tense. You may now answer activity E for 3 minutes. Let's check your answer for activity E. 1. Had started. 2. Had announced. 3. Had watched. 4. Had not followed. 5. Had traveled. 6. Had visited. 7. Had arrived. 8. Had imposed. 9. Had performed. And 10. Had made. For activity F, answer the following questions with complete sentences using verbs in the past or past perfect tense. Read and understand the questions to see what tense of the verb is more likely applicable on the given questions. Your answer will depend on your present situations. Make sure to write your answer on the space provided. Let's read the following questions. 1. What are the lessons that you have learned while experiencing community quarantine? 2. What were the health and safety measures that you practice at home? 3. How did your community respond to the health crisis? 4. Where did you spend your last holiday? 5. How did you cope with the recent health situation? 6. What stories had you read before you finished your elementary years? 7. Who among your teachers had become your favorite by the time the past school year ended? 8. What were your expectations before you entered your secondary level? 9. What skills or hobbies have you enjoyed before you ended your vacation? And 10. What lessons had you remembered when you studied English 6? For your final activity or your performance task for this week's lesson, you will be writing a narrative paragraph about the things that you had missed doing before the pandemic. It can be the plans about school, friends, family, or anything that had been cancelled because of the pandemic. Use past and past perfect tenses in your sentences. Write your narrative paragraph on the box provided on your activity sheet. Your output will be graded based on structure, grammar and mechanics, choice of words, and content. Review the criteria to have your best output. Good luck, and may you do your best in accomplishing this task. Oh wait! Let us see how well you learned the lesson by answering the reflection on page 6 of your LAS. Put a check on how you correspond on the given statements. You may check always if it is evident, sometimes if you have experienced it a few times, and never if you do not agree on the statements. For our references, you may use the following. Congratulations, you have successfully finished our lesson for this week. I hope you understand our topic very well on past and past perfect tense. As you identify the difference between the two, you can now narrate events in order, especially in our daily lives. I'm looking forward to your outputs using the past and past perfect tense. Again, congratulations, and you may now proceed to your next lesson. Again, this is Ma'am Monica Dayaw, praying for your safety and good health. See you next time!